Yo, what is up, my Turtle Topians? What's poppin'? It's Jacob Curry back with another absolute banger. Today, I'm going to be giving you guys my Week 18 NFL season predictions along with playoff predictions if I'm correct on all my Week 18 picks, which is probably not going to be true. But it doesn't matter. I'll be giving you guys Week 18 and the playoffs. So if you guys do like this video, to make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on the bell notification so you guys are notified when I do upload next. And yeah, let's just jump straight into ranking this. Alright guys, so here we are. This is the playoff bracket currently as of right now. We have in the first seed in the AFC, this is going to be the Chiefs. They've already locked in that spot. Then we have the 2-seed Bills, 3-seed Ravens, 4-seed Texans, 5-seed Steelers, 6-seed Chargers, and 7-seed Broncos. Now, the Dolphins still have a chance at making it in the playoffs, and we'll get to that in a minute. On the NFC side of things, we've got the Lions at 1. At 2, we got the Eagles. At 3, we got the Rams. At 4, we got the Bucks. At 5, we have the Vikings. At 6, we have the Commanders. And 7, we have the Packers. We'll be giving you guys Week 18, kind of how I see it playing out Thursday through Sunday. Remember, there is no Thursday night football this week, so there was no football yesterday, and so we're just waiting. Tomorrow we got some football. Saturday football. These two games, the Browns and the Ravens, the Bengals and the Steelers, those are pretty important games for the Steelers. They're already locked into the playoffs, so they already have that spot, but of course they just want to be able to secure that. Bengals have already been eliminated, and you know, the Ravens, they're still fighting for the division because technically, I guess, so Pittsburgh wouldn't be out of it because if they win and the Ravens lose, the Ravens are still in the playoffs, so both of them have locked in a playoff spot, but the only difference is it would be winning the division and getting that home playoff game. Go through and we'll see who's going to win. First game, of course, we have the Browns and the Ravens. Deshaun Watson is, of course, out, so Dorian Thompson-Robinson, and then, of course, Lamar Jackson, the unanimous MVP, more than likely. In this game, I could see it, kind of going either way because you could see DTR doing some big things. And for the Ravens, I mean, besides their pass game and then their run game with Derrick Henry, their defense is pretty solid. I'm going to give it to Baltimore just because it's at home. I think they'll have all the momentum going into this game and knowing they want to win the division. And with that, they will win the AFC North. This game, I think it's kind of going to come down to if Russell Wilson can get it done. I think he can, and that's why I'm going to give them the win here over Joe Burrow. I think Burrow has played a really good season. I think Jamar Chase has played a really good season. Probably if they had a better record, Joe Burrow would be the MVP, but I do like the Steelers in this one just because it's at home. They have some momentum wanting to get into the playoffs, get a better playoff spot, so I think they're going to take the win there. We have the Texans and the Titans. I think in this game, it could go either way. Again, the Texans, they have already locked in the AFC South, so I think they probably are going to be resting some starters. The Titans, they're not the greatest of football teams, but they're playing at home. This could be a trap game for the Texans. I'm going to give this one to Houston still just because I think even with the backups, they could beat Mason Rudolph even. So I'm going to give it to the Texans and CJ Stroud just because I have a better feeling about that. We have the Jags and the Colts. There's no playoff implications here. Colts have been eliminated. The Jags have been eliminated. I think in this game, we're going to see some Mac Jones highlights. We're going to see some highlights from Anthony Richardson. But I think at the end of the day, just because it's the home team, I'm going to go with the Colts to get that win there. Now we have the Bills and the Patriots. So the Bills, of course, have already won the AFC East. They have no contention for the first seed because the Chiefs have already won it. So I do think that this will be probably a backup game for the Bills and playing their starters. But even if they don't, I think the Bills will still be able to come away with a win. I just don't think that Drake May has it in him to beat the Bills last week, maybe having some momentum going into next season. I just don't think that they have what it takes to beat even a Bills backup squad. I've seen enough from them this year to have confidence that they'll beat them in that situation. We got the Chargers and the Raiders. I mean, this is kind of a toss-up game too. I mean, the Chargers are probably going to be resting their starters just because they've already locked in their playoff spot. Raiders suck like really, really bad, but they're looking for a better draft spot. I'm going to probably give this to the Chargers just because I think even with their backups, the Raiders are going to be tanking better draft spot in the upcoming draft. Looking at someone like Shadur Sanders, if they can get high enough, if they want to trade high enough, drafting someone like Travis Hunter and just rolling with a different quarterback or grabbing a different quarterback in free agency. So I'm going to give that one to the Chargers. Got the Chiefs and the Broncos. The Broncos have not locked in their playoff spot, so they're going to be fighting for the playoff lives. And the Chiefs are resting Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Chris Jones. They're pretty much resting the rest of their starters. I'm going to give this game to, it's going to fall in the way of the Chiefs. I really do. I think the Chiefs backups are going to go in there. I think maybe Bo Nix throws a couple interceptions just because he's a rookie. He's being faced with a win and you're in, or lose and you could be out situation. Maybe he just slips a couple times, and that's just too much. We'll run away with that game. Then we have the Dolphins and the Jets. I honestly could see going back and forth. Tua is going to be out, so they're running with Snoop Huntley. The Jets, Aaron Rodgers, he will be starting. Honestly, I think, since this is in New York, MetLife Stadium, I think maybe the crowd will be too much. It could get a little flustering. Huntley, although he's shown great highlights, has also showed lowlights. Could see this game kind of falling either way. I'm going to give it to the Dolphins, though. I'm going to give it to the Dolphins and have the Dolphins make the playoffs by the skin of their teeth at the 7th seed, which would eliminate the Denver Broncos from playoff contention. I think Miami, I think Mike McDaniels has what it takes to get there. I might be a little biased since I'm a Niner fan, but I just think Mike McDaniel maybe have like a different game plan this time. He might just be able to get it done, and I think he will get it done. If the cards fall the right way, if the Chiefs win and the Dolphins win, the Dolphins are in the playoffs and the Broncos are out. So that's how I kind of see it rolling for the AFC side. We head to the NFC side. We started off with the Bears and the Packers. Really no implications here. The Packers are solid. They're in the playoffs. Don't really see this falling either way. I mean, maybe we could see like Jordan Love getting some playing time, although Caleb Williams has not looked good this year. So even if they were playing, it would be Malik Willis. I'm going to give it to the Packers anyway, just because I think the Packers have too much momentum going into this game. I think they want to fight for a better playoff spot, because if they win, and I think if Washington wins, they're still the 7th seed. So I think they'll still be fighting for that better playoff spot, even though 6th and 7th seed doesn't have much of a difference besides having to play the 3rd seed and the 2nd seed. So just because I think that they're going to have momentum. Caleb Williams is not looking good, so I'm going to give it to Green Bay. Now we have the Commanders and the Cowboys. So this game, I'm going to give it to Jaden Daniels and the Commanders. I think they're going to be playing their starters, knowing that they're already in the playoffs, but I think they just want that better spot. So I think Jaden Daniels is going to go out there and show why he's Offensive Rookie of the Year. Cooper Rush is just, even at home, I just don't think he has enough what it takes. They just got destroyed by the Philadelphia Eagles, in which the Commanders beat. So I'm going to give this game to Washington. Maybe it's not going to even be close, I can see them scoring even like 30, 35 points. Now we have the Saints and the Bucks. So this game, there's some playoff implications here. If Tampa Bay wins, they're in, regardless of if Atlanta wins. If you can see right down here on the bottom, if Tampa Bay wins, they win their division and they're in as the 4th seed. Now, if something like that happens, Tampa loses and Atlanta wins, then the Falcons are in the playoffs. That's the only way for Atlanta to get into the playoffs. Now, if we did it the other way, Tampa wins and Falcons lose, it's just a 2-game streak for Tampa Bay. They're 2 games ahead of Atlanta. Now, if they both win, Tampa is still in the playoffs. So the only way for Atlanta to get into the playoffs is if the Saints win and the Falcons win. This game between what is a hot Baker Mayfield right now and not a great Spencer Rattler, I just cannot see the Buccaneers losing this game. It's at home. They have all the momentum going for them to win the division, and I just think it's going to play out that way. I think these games are going on at the same time, so I think they're going to be fighting anyway, and so I think the Falcons will beat Bryce Young and the Panthers just because I see Kirk Cousins has been benched for Michael Penix. I still think there's something there. Maybe Kirk Cousins comes out for a drive or two. Maybe Penix gets benched and Kirk Cousins comes back in. I think at the end of the day, no matter what happens at the quarterback position for the Falcons, they're going to win that game. Tampa will win their game, securing Tampa's spot in the playoffs. Have the Giants and the Eagles. So again, not much here. Although the Eagles have won their division pretty much. I think in this game, they're resting all their starters. Drew Lock, he's got some passion in him. I'm going to give the upset to the New York Giants just because I think maybe Drew Lock comes out and he has some insane accuracy. Maybe he throws for 350 yards. He has Malik Neighbors. Tyrone Tracy has a good game. The defense, star-studded Dexter Lawrence. I think maybe they're going to be too much for a backup Eagles squad, even though Kenny Pickett looked really good. He'll be without all of his other starters. Barkley's being sat. So I'm going to give it to the Giants. It's my one upset, I think, really, of the week. And I think that's just kind of the way it's going to pan out. Now we have the Seahawks and the Rams. The Rams have already won the NFC West. Sad, unfortunately, so sad. I think in this game, I think Matthew Stafford and them are going to be rested. The Seahawks are just, they're going to come into Los Angeles, so they'll get the win. They're not going to make it into the playoffs because they've already been eliminated, but I just think maybe the Seahawks will go in there, try to end off the season on a good note, and I think Geno Smith will. The Niners and the Cardinals. San Francisco, my team, they haven't played very good this season. Brock, probably the worst season of his career so far. McCaffrey's been injured. The entire team has been on IR at one point. Josh Dobbs will be starting for San Francisco. For Arizona, you still got K1. I think in this game, just because it's in Arizona, I'm going to give the win to the Cardinals just because the Niners haven't looked good. Maybe Josh Dobbs comes out and looks good, but I think maybe the 49ers will be tanking for that draft spot at 11. We can't move in the draft board. Let's go out and get that win, and I think maybe that's what's going to happen. Then probably the most anticipated game of the entire evening, it's Sunday Night Football between the Minnesota Vikings and the Detroit Lions. This is for the NFC North. This is for the number 1 seed in the NFC. It's not only for the 1 seed, it's for the NFC North. It's for bragging rights, it's home field advantage. Whoever wins this game, I could see in the NFC side going to the Super Bowl. Just because it's a 1 seed, you get that bye, you get the rest of your games at home. I think if Detroit wins, they have a great fan base to show up at home, win those games. The crowd will be too much to handle for the away team. Same thing for Minnesota. Minnesota's got a beautiful, beautiful stadium, and I think whatever happens in this game will kind of decide on who's going to the Super Bowl on the NFC side. Get it? Sam Darnold, he's looked really good. Justin Jefferson's looked really good. That defense started by Andrew Van Ginkel. He's looked really good. Detroit, on the other hand, they have Jared Goff. He's had a really, really good MVP campaign season. Amon-Ra St. Brown has looked good. Jahmyr Gibbs has looked good. I think they're going to be getting back David Montgomery for this game, if I'm not mistaken. If not, I think Jahmyr Gibbs can hold his own. Amon-Ra St. Brown, they looked really good against San Francisco last week. If this game was in Minnesota, I'd give it to the Vikings. I really would, but I think just because of the crowd appearance in Detroit, I think the Vikings will come out of this one with the 1 seed, dropping the Vikings to the 5 seed and winning the NFC. The AFC playoffs, the NFC playoffs, the race to Super Bowl 59 in New Orleans, right here, Caesars Superdome. Wild card round, the Lions won the NFC in my prediction, so the Lions are going to be the 1 seed. They're going to go right to the divisional round. In the AFC side, the Chiefs have already locked it in, so they'll be going straight to the divisional round. How I see it panning out is on the AFC side, you'll have the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Houston Texans. In this game, I think you're going to see some Russell Wilson. You'll see some CJ Stroud. I think since this is in Houston, they'll get the W there. Just because I think CJ Stroud will have maybe one of those awakening games. Nico Collins will look good, and maybe that defense will look good. D'Amico Ryans has been a great head coach there. I think they'll just have enough energy to get through that and get the win. The Chargers and the Ravens. In this game, the Chargers have looked really good. Justin Herbert's looked really good. Ladd McConkey is probably up there for Offensive Rookie of the Year. Definitely the best rookie wide receiver we have seen besides Malik Neighbors. I think just because it's in Baltimore, the Ravens will get the win, but don't count out the Chargers if this game were to happen. Then in this case, it would be either the Broncos and the Bills or the Dolphins and the Bills. That's who the Bills will be taking on the wild card round. In my prediction, I have the Dolphins being played, going to Buffalo. If Tua returns for this game, Tua cannot play in the cold. It'll be in the cold against a winter soldier, Josh Allen. It'll be too much. The Dolphins will lose, and the Bills will go to the divisional round. And on the NFC side of things, we have the Vikings and the Rams. I think this one could really go either way just because I think Minnesota's got a really good squad, but the Rams are one of those teams you just don't want to face. You're going to be going against them at home. I think they might be too much. I think the Vikings played a really good season. I just think the Rams are just kind of one of those underdog teams. You don't want to mess with them. Matthew Stafford pretty much has nothing left to lose. He won a Super Bowl. He's just like Jameis Winston. He can force balls, but when he forces them, 75% of the time, it'll be something really good. 25% of the time, it won't be something really bad. I think in this game, I'm going to give it to Los Angeles just because I think they're a team that you don't want to mess with in this kind of scenario. And I think in this scenario, they're going to get the win against Justin Jefferson, Sam Darnold, and the Vikings. We have the Commanders and the Buccaneers. This game, this really could go either way. I could see the Commanders winning. I could see the Bucs winning. It's in Tampa against a really, really hot Baker Mayfield. He's looked really good this year. Mike Evans still searching for that 1K season. I think in this game, it could go really either way. I think Washington's looked really good, Jaden Daniels, but at the same time, Baker Mayfield's looked really good with his squad. I think it's going to come down to coaching. Is it Dan Quinn? or is it Todd Bowles? I think at the end of the day, it's probably going to be Washington. I just think Jaden Daniels, as a possible offensive rookie of the year, is going to have too much going into this game and is not going to want to let up. We have the Green Bay Packers and the Philadelphia Eagles. Boy, this game could get really, really sloppy. Eagles at home, they could be a really good football team at home, but Jalen Hurts will have rested for 2 weeks. Maybe he's a little rusty. Jordan Love, on the other hand, he's looked really good this year. The Packers barely squeaked into the playoffs, but they did it at a 12-5 record. I think this game could really go either way, and I think, honestly, if we're being real with ourselves, I think the Packers have an honest chance here, and I'm going to give it to Green Bay, too. It's going to be my one upset of the entire playoffs, is I honestly think that maybe Green Bay will go into Philadelphia, and in Lincoln Financial Field, they'll get it done against Jalen Hurts. I think Saquon Barkley has had the best season maybe ever that a running back has ever had. I think Jordan Love will just have too much momentum, will have so much heart. They've had so much motivation behind them. I think they'll get that win and they'll advance to the divisional round. Now we have the divisional rounds in the NFC and the AFC. To start off with, the Ravens and the Bills. So in this game, it's going to be in Buffalo. It's against probably the two MVP candidates. So whoever wins this game probably will win MVP too. Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, the Winter Soldier. Is it going to be Houdini or is it going to be Captain America? Who really knows? I think in this game, the Bills, just because it's at home, it'll be in the cold, even though Baltimore, they have experience in the cold. I think, Josh Allen has too much momentum going into this game. I think he will get the win. Baltimore looks really good, but I just don't see them going past the divisional round. I think, they always get to the playoffs and they always have that one really bad game. They choke the game away, and I think that's kind of one of those games. And Buffalo, you're at home, Josh Allen, looking really good. They'll get the win. Then we got the Texans and the Chiefs. Chiefs not really have to talk about much here. CJ Stroud will probably choke the game away with a couple picks just because that's, he's inexperienced in the playoffs. Kansas City, they looked really good. Patrick Mahomes, it's not going to happen. Chiefs to the AFC champ game. On the NFC side of things, we've got the Commanders and the Rams. This is a really tough football game because you got a Commander team that's looked really good all season long, has had their opportunities to get the Hail Mary against the Bears. Jaden Daniels, offensive rookie of the year, like I've said multiple times in this video already. And the Rams, on the other hand, they've looked really good. They're one of those teams you just don't want to face in the playoffs. I think in this game, you'll see a back and forth game, but I think at the end of the day, since it's in Los Angeles, Matthew Stafford looking for another Super Bowl, he's going to get the win. I think Jaden Daniels played a really good season though, and I think he will win Offensive Rookie of the Year. We got the Packers and the Lions. This is going to be a really easy game to predict. It's going to be the Lions. The Lions have too much momentum. Dan Campbell might swing for it a couple times on fourth down, but the Packers are it's going to be too much. It's going to be that home field advantage like I was talking about earlier. Lions are going to be going to the NFC Championship game. Now we have the Conference Championship round. On the AFC side, we have the Bills and the Chiefs. On the NFC side, we have the Rams and the Lions. On the AFC side, we'll go to the AFC side first. We have the matchup that everyone's looking for in the AFC Champ game. A rematch of the AFC Champ game a couple years ago, a rematch of the AFC Championship game last year. My goodness, there's too many playoff instances when it's been Bills, Chiefs, back and forth all the time. Those two teams are just butting heads. The Bills had a home game against the Chiefs. They beat the Chiefs. It's their only loss on their record is to the Chiefs in their 16-1 season. I think in this game it could go back and forth. I think the Chiefs have looked really good this season. I think Josh Allen's looked really good this season. It could really go either way. At the end of the day, I think just because Josh Allen has not won anything yet, to the fact the Bills have not gone to the Super Bowl in a long time, Josh Allen wants to make it there finally after everything he's gone through against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. I think this year he finally gets it done. I'm going to give it to the Bills to go into Kansas City, beat them in the AFC Champ game, and head to Super Bowl 59. On the NFC side, you have a great game between Matthew Stafford against his former team, the Detroit Lions. It's the Rams-Lions. Like I said earlier, I think the winner of that Lions-Vikings game is probably going to the Super Bowl on the NFC side, so I'm going to give it to the Lions here. I think Matthew Stafford, he'll have a really good game, but a couple interceptions that'll end the game. Kirby Joseph has been a really good safety. He picked up Brock Purdy twice last week. I think the Lions are just going to have too much momentum going into this game. Jared Goff has looked really good, and I think at the end of the day, it's going to be the Lions going to the Super Bowl. Then it's the moment everybody has been waiting for this entire video. My Super Bowl prediction will be the number 2 seed of the AFC champions, Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills, taking on the 1 seed, the NFC champions, North champions, the Detroit Lions, head by quarterback Jared Goff. This game, honestly, oh my gosh, this game could go either way. It's a Super Bowl in New Orleans. Everybody looking. Josh Allen in his first Super Bowl. Jared Goff in his second Super Bowl. Jared Goff went to the Super Bowl a couple years back with the Rams. Lost it to Tom Brady. I think he wants redemption. Josh Allen wants to prove all the haters wrong. The Bills organization haven't won a Super Bowl yet. They're in their first Super Bowl in over, what has it been, 50 years? I think Josh Allen, he has momentum. He has what it takes. He's a winter soldier. Jared Goff, he has what it takes. He is literally the lion. He's the most underrated quarterback in the entire league. This game could go either way. It's going to fall either way. I think it's just going to be too much on either side. Both teams are going to make mistakes. Both teams are going to have really good plays. At the end of the day, I'm going to predict that the Super Bowl 2025 Super Bowl 59 champions in New Orleans at Caesars Superdome will be the Buffalo Bills. They're going to go into Caesars Superdome and they're going to beat Jared Goff and the Lions. I think Dan Campbell might just roll the dice on 1 or 2 fourth downs. It's going to cost him the game, and Josh Allen will go out there, put up 3 touchdowns, show why he is the MVP, and go and win that game. And I think Josh Allen will win the MVP this year over Lamar Jackson. I think he's going to win Super Bowl MVP, and I think the Buffalo Bills are going to win Super Bowl 59. All right, that's gonna do it, guys. That is my Week 18 and NFL playoff predictions. I'm gonna be doing something just a bit like this on Monday. I'm gonna come back after all the games are done on Sunday, and I'm gonna give you guys my full playoff prediction, although I still think it's gonna end up Bills-Lions regardless. But if the Vikings do win that Sunday Night Football game, I think it probably will end up Bills-Vikings. I think it just kind of depends on the way you go. At the end of the day, it's gonna be really NFC champ, AFC champ, Super Bowl, who happens, what's going on. Aren't yet subscribed, make sure to stay up to the content. We're gonna have really good content coming out. It's gonna be so much fun, so stay tuned. Thank you guys for coming to the video, and I'll see you all later. Peace.